It's This Week in Bourbon. Let's go explode some squirrels. And here's your headlines for June 6th, 2025. Lisa Wicker joins Whiskey Thief. Bender's Stash has announced a partnership with Willett Distillery. And Old Fitzgerald 7-year-old bottled and bond is officially released. But before we get started, here's a quick word from our partners. Hey everybody, welcome back. It is This Week in Bourbon. Ryan, have you ever exploded squirrels in your life?
Well, I've shot squirrels, but I've never, they didn't really explode because you shoot them with a shotgun and, you know.
They technically explode
a few pebbles will take one out. You know, they're not like, but I've never blown one up.
They're not robust creatures is what you're trying to get at here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I saw this and this video is absolutely asinine and it's awesome. And it makes anybody that watches it actually want to buy one of these things. So you ready for it?
Sure.
All right.
Today we're exploding some squirrels. We got the OG Roadinator.
I've seen this guy with
We're gonna
moles.
shove this thing in the squirrel holes, blow them up. As always, this is for the boys. So sit back and enjoy.
I've seen this guy for several years now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, those things are awesome.
Yeah, so anyway, it's just this thing that he sticks down in a hole, and I don't know, it's got to be...
You hook it up, you hook it up to propane, you pump in propane into the tunnels, and then, you ignite it, and then it blows up the tunnels.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, they originally had those... Like, I went to a green industry conference, like, I don't know, 10 years ago, and they had those things, and I'm like, yeah, but then you do more damage to the yard than the fucking mole's doing. I don't know.
But it's for the boys, and it was pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, he was holding like a guitar, and he was just like, bam. Yeah, I saw that, and I was like, man, this looks awesome. And one of the first, I think the top comments was, why can't I buy this on the TikTok shop? Because that's, social selling and everything. You should be able to buy it directly from there.
Yeah, TikTok shopping's like the newest thing, right?
It is. I mean, you listen to Gary Vee a lot, right? And that's what he talks about with social selling and basically getting on live and talking about and selling as it's going and stuff like that.
I know my daughter bought some stupid pink palm, I don't know, sweatshirt that all these 10-year-old girls wear just because she saw it on it. And I was like, it's infiltrating my kids already.
You can't get away from it, my friend. Now
and it shows up and it's like a Hanes sweatshirt. It just says pink palm, whatever. It doesn't say Hanes, but it's like the same quality. Like it's not like a nice sweatshirt.
Yeah,
and it's $60.
It's influenced. It's what it is. That's what you come down to. Now
humans are. The more and more I'm in retail and business, humans are the most irrational creatures like on this earth.
Well, now you've got to start harnessing your inner online social selling persona.
Yeah,
maybe we should just start going.
I'm taking a class right now.
Are you
doing a 7-day program on?
How come I don't know these things about you?
Well, I don't know. I'm only 2 days in, so I got 5 more days.
All right.
But it's on how like to play in human emotions, how to grab their attention, what are humans interested in, and it's a fascinating series. So I think it'll help us with our social media.
Are you doing is it a master class or something, or is it something else?
It's a course called Viralish, and there's this social media influencer out of Nashville. Her name's Adley. Her and her husband do these videos. He's like a construction DIY kind of thing, and she was like a comedian. She was on The Voice, but they kind of interplay the two because they found that DIY stuff is like
DIY
or whatever DIY. Not,
I was gonna say I'd let it go the first time, but
do
it's like
yourself.
Do yourself.
Yeah, do it yourself. Sorry. And they found like they open a lot of videos with him doing just like DIY, whatever it is, DIY stuff,
doing stuff, yeah.
And their videos, like all of them are like 13 million, 100 million, this and that, and they talk about how like they almost, it's like a reality show that's scripted. They know like what they've studied it for humans for 10 years and what they like and what grabs their attention, and so. Anyways, it's very interesting. I'm not a master yet. I got 5 more days. But,
Well, I can do it for you in 5 seconds. It's like in our business, what's going to get the views. It's the barrel dumps.
We've had 2 that just passed 1 million views. We got 1 that's almost at 2 million views, and it's just the barrel dump.
I don't know why we should be filming every barrel dump, and then we should just be doing
our whole feed will be just barrel dumps
and just like Enya soundtrack behind it or something like that. You just like, like, rain on me.
Yeah, the pure moods.
Yes.
Just play a different pure mood song every.
That or start playing into the meditation aspect, right? And get some wind chimes or some, small small gongs or something.
I tried to do the bourbon ASMR and it did okay, but not great.
Not great.
Barrel dumps are the only thing. Like, that's what's frustrating is like you have these great, cinematic produced reels with a great story, and they just like don't do as well as like a 5-second barrel dump.
They don't. So just keep doing barrel dumps. That's the
moral of the story.
Key. That's the key there.
I could save my money and not take the class.
You could. All right. So I do want to give an update because last week I was the judge at the 3rd annual Bonsai weekend. I know we actually met 2 people there that came because they listened to the podcast. So shout out to those that came. But it was pretty awesome. I mean, I was never really into. But did you realize the whole entire time we were saying it incorrectly?
No,
it's not bonsai. It's bonsai.
Bonsai.
So it's like bone and then sai at the end.
Well, Kentucky way is bonsai.
Yeah,
it's like Versailles, Versailles.
Well, I got schooled really quickly.
I'm sure.
And I go, wow, the media and Karate Kid have told me wrong for 42 years of my life. So now right. I know how to say it correctly. Bonsai.
Bonsai.
That's how you do it. And we came home with our own bonsai tree. So we are now bonsai parents.
Nice.
Yes.
Take care of that thing. They give you little shears to...
No, I actually asked. I was like, "Do we need the sharp shears?" He goes, "Nah, just get a pair of scissors. You'll be all right." Yeah. But it was actually cool. I mean, there was the competition ones were very impressive of what they were able to put together, and I chose one that it was actually growing out of a rock. All of the roots and the soil buried inside the rock, and you had to keep the rock moist to be able to feed the nutrients into it, and then the branch was going sideways leaning out of it. It was beautiful. So that's cool. It was something.
And then there was a cool azalea one. Yeah. I didn't know you could do azalea. I guess you could do anything bonsai, but I've never seen an azalea, which is cool.
They said to keep the azaleas from blooming, they have to keep them refrigerated to make sure that because it only blooms 3 weeks out of the year.
Right.
So you have to really manipulate these things.
Make it think it's winter.
That's the way it is. All right. And then we are still looking for ambassadors in different areas. So if you're across Texas in the major metros of Austin, Dallas, Houston, Fort Worth, all those kind of places. Also, if you're in New Mexico, Albuquerque, Santa Fe, and maybe somewhere in like Toledo, Ohio, send me a message. We're looking for people in our distributed states and distributed areas to help continue to grow the brand because we're on a move right now. So I'm excited for it. Well, we ready to start diving into some whiskey news here?
Let's do it.
So the first one is that a respected name in the alcohol production industry for nearly 25 years, Lisa Wicker, has joined Whiskey Thief Distilling Company, and owner Walter Zausch has announced this, and Wicker's role comes at a time for growth in their brand as well.
Yeah, I heard that last week and couldn't be more happier for Lisa. She's one of my favorite people in the industry, one of the most talented, and so it's a win for Whiskey Thief, win for Lisa. I think it'll be a awesome relationship. Walter's a great dude. Got a great business model there with Whiskey Thief. And so, I mean, she's going to make some incredible stuff for them. And I'm sure that there are things really on single barrels. So I don't know if they have maybe they're thinking like, oh, we need someone, who's a talented palate, taster, blender like Lisa is. And maybe they'll start scaling out some products too.
Yeah, that was my kind of concern too, was what does the future of their brand, future of their brands look like? And because Walter's always said, he goes, I am not going to distribution. I sell just enough here on the farm. And you're bringing somebody like Lisa in to actually start running and managing the production aspect. Well, what does that mean for... Put it this way, you're at least a couple years out from whatever she's touching. So you've got time to figure it out. Just to kind of understand exactly what their long-term plan is would be interesting to know about as well.
Totally. We need to have Walter on here.
We should.
Yeah.
We should get Walter on here. He's my old fraternity brother.
Yeah, I do.
I know. So Beta Nu, Kappa Sigma. There we go.
Shout out. Kappa Squids.
All right, so there's another new book coming out here, and it's from the author called I'll Drink to That. It's the perfect book for enthusiasts of cocktails and of the legendary director Alfred Hitchcock, and it's called Hitchcocktails. So these are lethal libations inspired by the Master of Suspense. It's a chilling, clever tribute to Alfred Hitchcock's legacy, served shaken, stirred, and Spiked with Wit. Written by Laurence Maslon, this stylish cocktail book pairs more than 36 original recipes with the most iconic characters, scenes, and settings from Hitchcock's enduring filmography, concoctions that can also take the edge off and, or take your head off. From the bourbon-fueled spiral of North by Northwest to the brandy-soaked camaraderie of the birds, cocktails play a recurring role in the suspense, seduction, and surprise that define his films. In fact, if you didn't know this, Hitchcock included alcoholic beverages in each of his 43 full-length films, even aboard a lifeboat in the Atlantic Ocean. This goes on sale on July 29th, and a hardcover is going to cost you $25.
All right. I mean, I'm aware of Alfred Hitchcock. I'm not sure I'm like a diehard fan where I'd be like, oh, this is right up my alley, but I know there's a lot of Alfred Hitchcock fans, so this will be right up their alley.
Yeah, I'm not a big movie buff. It was a little bit before my time when it came for a lot of the Alfred Hitchcock stuff. But for those people that love the classics.
I'm more of like an old school Happy Gilmore.
Which Happy Gilmore 2.
Dumb and Dumber.
Have you seen the trailer for Happy Gilmore 2?
I have, yes.
Yeah, it's M&M's in there.
My son's pumped, even though he probably shouldn't watch it. But,
did you show him number 1?
He has seen number 1. He loves it. I do too.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Especially the scene when she's wearing lingerie.
Yeah. With the beers. He's like, ooh.
Yeah, we're like, all right, son, this one's for me. And
Fast forward.
Yeah.
Turn your head.
Yeah, the boys are downstairs tonight. Girls, you're upstairs.
Yeah.
So this is a quick one. If anybody that's a part of the Mellow Moments Club, I think they're reaching like 25 or 30,000 members or something like that. You can now stay up to date on all their member benefits. Plus, you'll be able to see photos of their latest releases and events. And this is all happening on their Mellow Moments Club Hub online.
Club Hub.
The Club Hub. That's
interesting name.
Hey, I mean, it rhymes.
That's right.
It's fun. It goes with it. Sazerac is launching Legacy de Forge, or maybe de Fourier. I don't know how you would say it, but it's a new global e-commerce platform now live at legacydeforge.com. This is powered by Blockbar and built on blockchain technology. And this offers collectors around the world direct access to Sazerac's most discerning brands. It was designed with collectors in mind, so you have verified authenticity and secure global fulfillment, exclusive drops, auctions, and curated releases. You also have the optional ability to have bottle storage, resale, and redemption through here. And this first auction is going to start from May 28th to June 11th, offering consumers globally the opportunity to purchase bottle number 1 and number 2 of the Last Drop's 27-year Buffalo Trace Bourbon, along with other rare and hard-to-find spirits.
Interesting. So they're allowing resales on here.
So this is from Blockbar, right? So Blockbar's been around for a little bit. They came out of the blockchain, I would say, bubble that was really popular, probably just like tail end of COVID time frame. Remember when I was
had a good 8-month run.
Yeah. Remember when I was all about it? And I'm like, yeah, NFTs for life. But this is trying to keep that alive. But yes, it does allow resale as a part of the platform.
Interesting.
Because here's the thing, you're not trading the bottle. You're trading like the authenticity of the bottle.
Oh.
Right?
Sure.
So,
whatever.
Yeah.
However you want to
justify it. It's the old eBay model.
Yeah.
You're not buying these tickets. You're buying the pen that comes with these tickets.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. They're so against it, and then they're like, we'll just do it ourselves. And it's fine.
If we do it, it's legal and it's fun.
Yeah.
But to be fair, they are probably one of the only ones right now that people would actually give a shit to actually go and buy those bottles.
I mean, there's definitely Michters and Willett's and some old Parkers and stuff that would do well in there. But yeah, they probably have the most. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The most volume out there of collectible stuff.
Well, assuming that this is coming from their own stash, when you talk about the old Willett and Michters and stuff like that, most of that's out in market.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we know Drew. Drew's got a healthy supply of Willett in his arsenal, but there a lot of that, he keeps a lot of that for himself and for record keeping and archival and everything like that too.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, then I'll go ahead and, since we're talking about Willett, I'll just go ahead and go to the next one here, which is another headline, is that Binder's Stash announced a strategic partnership with Willett Distillery. And this partnership provides Binder's Stash with unique access to Willett's inventory, including experimental mash bills and limited barrels. In addition, Binder's Stash will benefit from their state-of-the-art bottling facility and operations, plus their expansive distribution platform across domestic and global markets.
Yeah. Got that headline. I was,
You get blown up by text messages.
A lot of
left and
people are
right.
like, "What's this? Why? What? You know?" I mean, Drew's got an awesome. I mean, you've been there. The bottling facility is like state of the art. It's freaking sick, and so I'm sure they have.
They could be running it probably 24/7.
Yeah,
don't.
And I don't know if it's binder is.
I know. I always said binder, but people will go, "No, it's Bender." I go,
Bender.
"All right, sorry."
Yeah, and I'm sure they're at a.
Hopefully, I got that right, Bill. If you're listening.
They're at a size that probably is manageable for, you know, Drew. And I know they've had a great relationship over the years. And so and Drew's had a ton of exploratory. He's a curious person. He's, like they said, you know, those experimental mash bills. And I know he's got a ton of different casks and stuff that he's probably like, these are interesting, but I don't know what to do with them. They don't necessarily fall within what I'm doing. So it's a nice outlet for them that they both can get, you know, publicity out of those and stuff. So makes sense.
I agree. We talked about this beforehand. My idea and thought behind this was, yes, Drew has probably been doing experiments. They've laid down all kinds of stuff since they really started getting into distilling. I think we're probably coming close on more than a decade, right? Of doing their own stuff.
I think we're at 12 years now.
12 years?
Yeah.
Okay. So they've probably been doing all kinds of stuff. And when you only have like 8 brands inside the family and you have Willett Purple Tops, but you've got stuff that's in all these, I mean, you're right. We went through there. He's got 30 different cooperages of experimental barrels out there, and it just doesn't fit into the profile. So what the hell do you do with this? And Bill's probably been a great friend to him. And you're right. He's at a size where it's small enough. I will use the word elite enough, and people are going to chase after it anyway.
That same circle of people that like Willett have that same, you know,
they're always chasing after it.
Exactly. Yeah. That bougie, you know, collectible, like high-end lifestyle. They both kind of fit that niche.
Exactly. And so it's a perfect pairing for them. I did see in one of I think it was the Food and Wine article, how it all got started was Bill said he had a problem with his wax because everybody was just using knives to open it up. And then Drew said, well, let me just show you how we do our wax. And then Drew goes, why don't I just do all the wax for you? And then Drew said, I got all these barrels. Why don't I just sell you my barrels? I was like, all right, that makes sense now.
But Willett hasn't waxed in quite some time, so.
Well, yeah, you're right. Well, I mean, they did. Yeah, you're right. For all their purple tops, they're now actually purple. They're not wax.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he has all the equipment there, just
totally
sitting, waiting for an opportunity like
He's
this.
Like, I have good processes from 10 years ago that we can reintroduce
for a very inefficient process,
yes.
which is waxing, of course. No, but congratulations to them. I think it's really cool. It'll help grow the brand. Selfishly, I look at it and I go, I would love to be just hooked into Willett's distribution model right there,
totally.
And it would just go to market, and we wouldn't have to deal with all the headaches that we deal with.
Yeah, because he's got pretty much the entire U.S. and great international partners as well. So, yeah, it's a win-win.
Yep. Well, speaking of distribution, the other big headline, if anybody was actually paying attention, is that Republic National Distributing Company, RNDC, the nation's second largest wine and spirits distributor, will completely withdraw from California by September 2nd of 2025. This follows significant moves where supplier accounts have been losing in the first half of 2025, including Tito's, Brown-Forman, High Noon, and Cutwater.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, that's got to be a big, especially.
All
those brands are.
Huge.
I mean, Tito's is, you know, the best-selling vodka in the U.S. by far, and then you throw in High Noon and Brown-Forman,
Jack Daniels,
Daniels,
Woodford, Old Forester. You lost all that. I mean, this is that's not even a knife to the gut. I mean, this is just taking an ice pick and just like pulling your guts out. This is hot. I mean, I don't want to say that could RNDC be in a huge tailspin, but if they start pulling out, California is the biggest market across the U.S.
Yep.
So if you start seeing this and you start reading between the tea leaves, and it's like if they start, and they've already talked about problems in Texas with on-premise and pretty much slashing that entire team. I mean, you start looking
Sazerac,
at Florida and Ohio, and New York, if those things start falling apart, this is all bad news for them.
Yeah, it's the distribution model over the last 15, 20 years, you've seen a lot of consolidation. So there's, I think 15, 20 years ago, there was something like 3,500 distributors, and I can't remember how many brands, but now there's only like 1,500 distributors. They've all kind of consolidated, tried to, and it just shows you like once you like consolidate and get too big, you kind of lose like your ethos and like your focus on customers. Like I know service was really kind of like falling the wayside. I think even before Sazerac got out of the deal, they started having to hire like their own salespeople to take care, and then they eventually backed out. And so like I think there's like a reckoning coming for all big distributors, just because like they've kind of lost sight of that customer service. They just kind of see like, oh, we're just part of the process. Well, how could we ever lose? And I think there's definitely going to be a recalibration, a reset, where they're all going to have to look at themselves and be like, how do we go back to that customer service and really care about our partners and not just being that mandatory middleman?
Yeah, and I would say RNDC probably rested on their laurels for a better part of their existence. I look at this and I say this with a little bit of sympathy. I'm sorry for everybody that's losing their job and everything like that. It's not a good situation to be in. Anybody that's been in business, you've probably lost a job at one point in your life. But I do feel that this is a part of the makeup and the nature that the 3-tier distribution model has to change. You get lazy. We've got our own distributors that we have problems with that, they're like, hey, you just got to come to market and sell it yourself. And it's like, well, what the fuck are you supposed to do? What are you doing for me then? Right.
Right.
And that's the point that I don't like, is that if you're going to be doing that, why am I paying you 25 to 35 percentage points when I'm the one doing the work? And it's just the legal nature that what we have to deal with, and it sucks.
Well, now, to be fair, distributors, like I said, because they've consolidated, they all have so many brands.
Yes, too many brands.
Like the sales rep, it's hard for them to be like, well, I can't focus on everyone and everything, so I just go with what the customer, thinks they want, and that's it. And so it's definitely a broken model, because to be fair, they just don't have the ability to focus and give customers attention like they used to, just because they have so many brands.
Yep, it is. And when we join a distributor and we didn't realize, like, oh, they have Beam, we're not in a good position right now, right? Because what's your famous line?
We pay their toilet paper bill. Yeah. Whereas Beam can take them to the Bahamas and Yeti coolers.
Yeah. That's the part that needs to be fixed. Well, we can talk about distributors all day long, but we'll go ahead and take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with some bourbon release news. Hey everybody, welcome back. It is bourbon release news time. Got just a couple. Excited to dive into this one. This first one's a one-liner here. So anybody that's a fan of Four Roses, they're going to be releasing their 15-year OBSV Father's Day release. And this is going to be 34 barrels, so it's quite a bit. And it's going to be $100 pop.
Makes a good Father's Day gift.
Yeah. Well,
it's a lot of fathers.
It is a lot of fathers. I was talking to Mr. Four Roses across the hall from us, and I said, how does this compare to last year's? Because remember last year...
Oh, yeah, it was like a 16-year.
It dropped to 15 or 16-year last year, and it went crazy, and people were flipping it left and right. And I think he said that it was about half this size. It was only about 15 barrels worth, but the price tag was double at $200.
Oh.
And he goes, so I don't know why they would slash the price in half, even though you're going to have double the amount of bottles, unless they're worried about not selling through. But
make it more accessible, more mainstream. I don't know because it's at 100 proof too, right?
I don't know. I didn't actually see what the proof was on it.
I thought I saw it was 100 proof, but I could be wrong.
You could be wrong too. I would hope they would do cash strength, but we could both be wrong.
Yeah,
it's 99 proof.
99.
Just kidding. All right, so our other headline is that Heaven Hill has finally announced, I'm sure you've seen it all over secondary markets, you've seen it on pictures, you've seen it on Facebook, but we don't talk about it until it's officially official most of the time. They are releasing their Old Fitzgerald 7-year-old bottled and bond Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, which will be in the Legendary's new signature expression. This comes after 155 years after the trademark, honoring the John E. Fitzgerald brand and the namesake of Old Fitzgerald, which was actually first introduced. Now, after 7 years spent aging in level 3 charred new American oak barrels, this remarkably balanced bourbon is an indulgence on the palate whether enjoyed neat, blah, 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 blah. Retailing at an approximate $60 for a 700 ml, this is a 100 proof wheated bourbon made from their mash bill, which is 68% corn, 20% wheat, and 12% malted barley.
The OG wheated bourbon.
Yes.
And it doesn't even have a big wheated on it.
It doesn't. It doesn't. They really missed a good marketing opportunity there.
Yeah. It's a beautiful bottle, though.
I was about to say, they don't think they need to put the wheated on there.
Yeah, it's for $60. The bottle looks awesome. I'm sure the whiskey's great. We'll try it here soon, I'm sure. But
you're eyeballing it right now.
I know.
We actually just opened the package up this morning.
Yeah, it looks sexy.
It's a super nice box it came in. The packaging looks great. So the one thing it did not come to ours, which I have seen out in market, is that some of them have bags. The drawstring
they have like
taffy bags,
like a velvet bag.
Yeah,
Nice.
so it's all about that packaging, baby.
Yep.
All right, our next one is that 15 Stars has announced the release of a limited time rye blend, and this is called the Founders Reserve Fine Aged Rye. This unique expression blends straight rye whiskeys from Kentucky, Indiana, and Tennessee that are aged 14, 13, 9, and 8 years old, and this is going to retail at $140, and it's 95 proof.
Sure, it's good. All the stuff I've had from them is great. We had them on the show, which will be airing soon. Fascinating people, great story, and I can't wait to share that with folks. But yeah, I'm really excited for what they got going on with their brand and stuff. I think they're doing great stuff, and yeah, I'm sure it's going to be great.
It's the only time that you're going to hear Ryan and I eating popcorn in the middle of a show, because we had no idea that popcorn is actually their main business. And then they're like, hey, let's go ahead and build a bourbon brand.
Makes sense.
Yep. We got the corn.
Corn and corn.
We got the corn. What else should we do with all this stuff? I got it. Whiskey. All right. So we had talked about this, maybe even broke the news about it a couple weeks ago, post Derby, or actually pre-Derby, whatever it was, is that Old Forester, they are going to be releasing President's Choice Bourbon and a new expression of President's Choice Rye that'll be going to select retailers nationwide in limited quantities starting very soon.
Exciting. Just got the sample, so
yeah, which is like, we was talking. I was like, their PR team, they've got to figure out sample bottles. This is like the 4th iteration of different sample bottles they've sent to us, and it came in like test tubes, and I'm going like this is all glass. Like this is gonna break. This is not the way to be able to do it. Just put it in small 100 ml plastic bottles, and that is perfectly fine.
Yeah, I like those test tubes. I take them on the golf course whenever. They fit easy in the bag. Heaven Hill had those run where they did those test tube samplers.
Yeah,
and they were good for golfing.
They're good for golfing. Not so much retail. Not so much the buying experience. That's why they used to give them away all the time. And we would come to events like, here, take this. I was like, I got 3 of these already.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining, though. Maybe less free whiskey.
Totally.
All right. So this next one, a little bit long here, but Castle and Key, in partnership with the Kentucky Black Bourbon Guild, announces the release of Untold Story of Kentucky Whiskey, Chapter 4. And for each release, 100% of the funds and the revenue will be donated to the scholarship that supports diversity, inclusion, and equity within the distilling industry. Chapter 4 is a true single barrel offered at cask strength featuring Hickory King corn. I had no idea what that is. It's an heirloom varietal widely cultivated and favored for whiskey production over a century ago. The Untold Story of Kentucky Whiskey Chapter 4 tells the story of Dallas Peters. He's a black man from Millville, Kentucky, whose life intertwined with bourbon and the social struggles of an era marked by prejudice. He was born in 1892, and Peters married into the Brock Beverly's family, linking him to a lineage of African Americans who contributed significantly, yet often invisibly, to America's native spirit. And at the time, black workers were barred from holding the title of distiller or participating openly in alcohol production. However, despite this, Peters played a pivotal role behind the scenes at the Old Taylor Distillery, which is now Castle and Key. His legacy was clouded by a false accusation of barrel theft, a scheme later revealed to be the work of 2 others, who were then later convicted. This is going to be 104 proof. There's 204 bottles available and has an SRP of $175.
Fascinating story. It kind of sounds like Uncle Nearest or something, you know?
Yeah.
And great cause. I love that. And Hickory King corn.
Hickory King corn. Say that 12 times.
Yeah, Hickory King corn. Yeah. Sounds interesting. So, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't realize we were going to get a history lesson today. So, love to be able to hear that. And there's all kinds of probably bourbon lore and stuff like that out there that is always cool to see come to light, and glad we got to share that. So awesome, great story. Go grab yourself a bottle. Here's an interesting one. If anybody is around the Louisville area, they recently allowed legal gambling. I say gambling in air quotes. What, probably a year or two ago?
Like on your phones and stuff?
No, like because we have like Derby City Gaming, slot machines.
They have slots, but they don't have like table games.
Yeah. Why not? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't.
It's so weird to go to a casino here and all they have are slot machines, and you go, well, that's the easiest way to lose $100.
Yeah, I have no idea. People just drive across the river and give all their money to Indiana or West Virginia or Ohio. It's obnoxious.
Yeah. Anyway, you can go to Steak and Bourbon, which is a great place in downtown. You can just walk across the street to Derby City Gaming, so you can eat your steak and lose your money too.
The Derby City Gaming though does have a really awesome bourbon bar and cigar lounge there. It's awesome.
Oh,
have you been back there?
I have not. I walked around, but I guess I missed that.
Yeah, I walked. We ate at Steak and Bourbon. Then I was like, oh, I'll go in there, and walked around, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is sick. It's really cool. So like, because cigars are
now legal.
Well, I don't know if they're legal, but they have like
they are. You can smoke in designated places in Kentucky now with.
Oh, okay. Well, they have one. Whereas it used to be the only place you could go was like Louisville Thoroughbred Society or something because it was a private club, or you had to go to New Albany. But this gives people a place where if they want to enjoy bourbon and smoke cigars. But yeah, they did a great job with it. So next time you're in town, you should check it out.
Yeah. Well, anyway, they're coming out with their own buff turkey. So
okay.
Derby City Gaming proudly announces the exclusive release of The Great Gambit, which is a 16-year Kentucky straight bourbon distilled in Frankfort, Kentucky. It's bottled at 122.22 proof, and there's only 45 hand-numbered bottles. And this plays tribute to the American elegance and striking Art Deco that was inspired by the timeless sophistication of The Great Gatsby. However, this is kind of where it gets a little dicey here. Dicey, get it? Gambling. So it's $50 for 1 ounce pour, $100 for a 2 ounce pour, or a striking $1,200 if you wanted to buy a full bottle of it.
Wow.
And these are available exclusively at both Derby City Gaming locations.
I mean, those buff turkey barrels are expensive. And if you only got 45 bottles of it,
you got to charge. Probably.
You got to charge accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
Yep.
You got to make up for all that other overhead that you got to spend actually getting it into the bottle.
I just wonder how much buff turkey's left out there.
I think there's still, I heard that not only, I'm sure the 15, 16 is dwindling down, but I've heard there's now a new 8 and 9 year available.
Oh, okay. So
I think you've got a healthy runway for the next probably 2 to 3 years of hearing about buff turkey.
Oh gosh, make it stop.
Well, that's what we're in right now.
Remember, I opened up the humans are irrational. This is definitely one of them.
But I've only had a couple, and of those couple, like
I've had some that are amazing,
really
some
good.
that are not good at all, and some that are just mediocre.
Yeah,
I've had more mediocre and not good at all than I've had like outstanding.
It is a huge gamble that I'm not willing to bet our farm on.
Nope,
that's true. And anyways, I always read ahead. I'm like, bet the farm, because Lost Lantern has announced its summer 2025 collection called the Farmer's Field Estate Blends, and they're going to have a few different releases, but they are looking at different distilleries that all grow their farm on the estate. And so I think there's 4 different distilleries they're working with, but they have actually created 2 blends where they're blending together all 4 distilleries to kind of create their own concoction. So first is the Farmer's Fields Bourbon. There's 428 bottles. It's almost 118 proof, and they'll be $100 each. It's a blend of estate-grown straight bourbons from Far North, Frey Ranch, Whiskey Acres, and Whiskey Acres. So there's 3 of them going in that one. And then the Farmer's Field Rye, about the same exact specs there, but 538 bottles. This is coming from Corbin Cash, Far North, Frey Ranch, and Whiskey Acres. And if you haven't heard, Corbin Cash, California, Far North in Minnesota.
I like all those distilleries.
And Whiskey Acres in Illinois. And everybody knows about Frey Ranch. Plus, they're also going to come out with 6 different single cask releases from all 4 of these distillers, ranging from around $100 to $130 each.
Interesting. They do some fun, cool stuff. I love all those distilleries, so I'm fascinated. I'm more interested in the blends.
That's what I said. I was like, I'm really interested to kind of see how that turns out, because I'm glad they're doing that. They went the model that we originally doing in single barrels, and single barrels are very hard to scale, but creating something that is uniquely theirs that you just can't get from one of those places. That's like where I think the magic is.
Totally.
So good job, y'all. Wyoming Whiskey has announced the launch of Buffalo Bill Cody. This is an exclusive limited edition bourbon that'll only be available in Wyoming. It honors Buffalo Bill's legacy. Buffalo Bill Cody was a fearless frontiersman, a decorated war hero, and a master showman whose charisma captivated audiences around the world. Kind of like you, Ryan.
It sounds just like me.
Yeah, made from grains farmed in Wyoming soil. It was distilled in Kirby and created with a blend of 26 barrels. And this is going to be 6 years old, 97 proof, and $80.
Okay. Go Buffalo Bill.
Go Buffalo Bill. I don't really...
Is it weeded bourbon or is it... they didn't say.
Actually, it didn't say. It just said they're made from grains farmed in Wyoming soil. That's
Gotcha.
all I got, man.
You know, they missed it doing the weeded thing. They have some of the best weeded bourbon out there, but probably people never correlate the two.
Yeah, so if you're just now listening to the show and you haven't heard us talk about Wyoming whiskey in a long time, go and pick yourself up a bottle. You are doing yourself a disservice. It is by far some of the best weeded bourbon out there.
That and their Outrider. That stuff's awesome.
Yes, Outrider Rye. It is really good. All right, so here's the one I told you yesterday. I said, I laughed and I said, I'm not going to tell you what this is. Right? I'm going to save it for the show here. So RD1 Spirits, they're based out of Lexington. They are coming out with a new limited edition release, and this is a Kentucky straight whiskey finished with Japanese Mizunara and French oak. It's called the Sister Cities Expression. It's a blend of 5 and 7-year-old bourbon with an 8-year-old rye, and it's finished in Japanese Mizunara and French oak. In this limited edition release, Jared Gollihue, I'm pretty sure, hopefully I'm saying that right. He's a PhD, their R&D master distiller for RD1. He began with a 5-year-old bourbon, matured in new charred American white oak, and then French oak necklaces were added to the casks, extending maturation.
Necklaces.
For a total time of twice that of RD1's existing portfolio of French oak releases. Yeah, I saw necklaces. I was like, get the fuck out of here.
But I get it. That's a creative way to describe those oak chains.
And then this finished expression was then blended with a 7-year-old bourbon and an 8-year-old rye. The final step was lightly toasted Japanese Mizunara staves.
Oh, not necklaces.
Not necklaces, apparently. This is 102 proof and has a $70 SRP.
That's funny. I like it. Because we're always like, you're like, what do you call them? Staves. Necklaces is definitely
necklaces.
The first. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. There needs to be like this, people have this negative connotation with staves or chains or whatever, and it's just oak. And so like people need to realize like these are like really innovative ways to impart new flavor because you can really customize and toast them in different ways. And so let's just not skirt around it.
Yeah.
Like let's embrace it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really good whiskeys being made using these products.
Well, I just realized we were missing out on a huge opportunity. So we need to start taking all of our ones that are on ropes and chains out of barrels when we're done with them and then turning them into
jewelry.
Necklaces. Yes. I mean, this is $1 million, maybe not. It might be $100 idea, but it is an idea.
That's a pretty big necklace.
It is a big necklace. I mean, your dad's a woodworker. He needs something to do.
Sure. He'd love to whittle those down into.
Yeah. Like just make some nice beads, whatever it is. So, all right. High West is releasing its newest iteration of The Prisoner's Share. This is going to be available in limited quantities starting nationwide on June 1st. And this unique whiskey boasts a beautiful blend of straight bourbon and rye whiskeys that are finished in the Prisoner red wine barrels from 4 to 12 years. So the mash bill, it's coming from MGP, BBC, an unnamed Kentucky distillery of 781012. There's also MGP 95.5, and then they also have 8020 of High West's own new make in there. So 5 different mash bills, SRP of $175.
I'm sorry, did you say it was their boo rye or what?
It is a boo rye. They don't call it that.
They don't call it the boo rye.
This the Prisoner's Share.
Oh, because the Prisoner, yeah.
Yes, the Prisoner.
But Consolidation just sold Prisoner, or I think they're in, I'm pretty sure they just sold Prisoner. So I wonder if that relationship will continue or not.
Yeah, they'll find another one.
That's right.
Wine barrels it's like bourbon barrels nowadays.
Dime a dozen.
Yeah, you can find them anywhere. All right, our last one here. Maybe I should have put it in the headlines because and I'll talk about why I enjoy this so much, is that Penelope Bourbon elevates the timeless pairing of whiskey and cigars with the debut of their own Cigar Sessions Chapter 1. The first release in the annual Cigar Sessions is crafted to complement medium-bodied cigars, with future chapters designed to explore the range of cigar pairings. Cigar Sessions Chapter 1 Straight Bourbon is 100% American single malt and American light whiskey. And this results in a one-of-a-kind, rich and balanced profile developed specifically to enhance the enjoyment of medium-bodied cigar pairings. Made in small batches and aged 6 years with a mash bill of 72% corn, 15% rye, and 13% malt, Penelope Cigar Sessions Chapter 1 is bottled at 101 proof. There's about 7,500 six-pack cases, and it's going to have a retail price of $80. Now, why do I love this so much?
I don't know. Why do you love it?
Why do I love this so much? They went out of the norm of just calling it a cigar blend, because a cigar blend is whatever. And they just said, I've got an idea on how we can create multiple releases of this. And they said, we're going to pair it to different kinds of cigars.
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant. Brilliant.
And to the package, like, it looks like a cigar label on, you know.
Oh, the neck ring or whatever. Yeah, it's kind of like, it starts off with circular and kind of goes down to a thinner width to go around it.
Yeah. So an interesting thing about this too, Danny, I know Danny and Mike, they spent a lot of time in Vegas with like
I bet they do.
Well, I know. But with like the cigar aficionado folks, like and had them like help them create this blend or this product for them as they were like smoking cigars. And so like if there was some more intentionality around it versus just like creating something saying, oh, it's a cigar, you know.
It just keep puffing smokes in your back porch and
exactly.
Testing samples and be like, hey, we got this one. Yeah, like I said, I know that we've always talked about cigar blend being bastardized at this point and how we would never do it. But I love the intentionality you said behind it, the fact that they were able to find a unique spin, just brilliant marketing from the very beginning here.
That's what they do best.
Even more brilliant, they found a way to get rid of American single malt as a part of this.
Yeah. MGP's like, guys, we got all this single malt.
We got to get rid of this stuff.
Bullet's not selling enough of it.
Oh, man. Okay. I'm glad we finished up with that. That is going to be the end of This Week in Bourbon. But cheers, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Toodles.